Before talking about the fourth mistake that you should know out of the 50, let me test you first. I will ask you 5 questions and then we will compare your answer with the right one. First question, your opponent played knight b6 offering a knight's trade. Will you trade or not? Pause the video, put the like button, subscribe. Second one, here we go. Your opponent just played queen c7, or sorry, queen b6 from c7. Will you trade queens or not? Make sure you cannot take the bishop as there is a pin. Subscribe. And move on. Third question. Your opponent played knight e5. Will you exchange or not? Fourth question. Here, your opponent has a great knight on e5. Will you exchange or not? The last one. There is a great knight here. Will you exchange or not? So what's the fourth mistake and the fourth error most of us do without even noticing that? It's called exchanging pieces and worsening the structure. By talking about worsening the structure, either we do that for ourselves or make our opponent pawn structure better than our pawn structure, or even better. So here in this position, if your answer was yes, then that was incorrect. Actually, knight b6 is the move that the 2135 rated player played it. But it's not correct. Why? Because it simply improved the structure of the black's army. And now after a takes b6, this pawn is just covering more squares, and most importantly, the rook gets active. That's why here in this position, that was not a good move. So always, whenever you want to exchange, you need to relate that to the pawn structure. Will this exchange improve my pawn structure or worsen it? And that's the same question for your opponent. So that was an incorrect move, and here you two have two ideas. Either we go b3, saying that you take, I improve my pawn structure and controlling the center now, or you could simply go knight a5, which works the best with the bishop on g2 and adding more pressure on b7, making the improvement of this bishop hard. That was the correct idea. And actually after knight b6, a b6, the game was good for black, and black is completely fine and maybe even slightly better because of the bishop pair. It's not really relevant to go for the rest of the game. So let's move on to the second position and to the second question. Now queen b6, will you take or not? Actually, queen b6 was a bad move. Why? Because this structure now, note that in most 99% of the chess positions, the double single pawns are bad. What do you mean by double single? What do I mean? That without having a pawn on c7 or a7 or c6 or b6 or a6, sorry, in this position, whenever we do have only two double pawns without pawns to the right or pawns to the left, that is a great weakness. So never ever do that. In many chess openings, and here that reminds me of very interesting ideas in the opening. Like for example, c6, and now if queen b3, queen b6, no, let's make it clearer. Like knight f3, knight f6, queen b3, queen b6. Now, this is not great, because after queen b6, a b6, c d5, this is not forced. This is a mistake, but this is great now. Why? Because our pawn structure is kind of healthier, yeah? Kind of healthier together here. It's possible to be played, but this is actually a bad pawn structure. So that's why, for example, here, after queen b3, here, queen b3, queen b6, for example, is not great, because I can't take, you take c d5, c d5, and this is actually not a great pawn structure. I hope you get it. So let's get back to our example. So now queen b6 was not a great move, and the right answer is yes, you need to exchange. After queen takes b6, a takes b6, rook d4 was played, attacking the bishop, bishop c6, a3, supporting actually the pawn on a2 was protected. And now in this position, black has a great idea, which was rook a5. The point of rook a5 is to improve the rook via c5, maybe c2, or sometimes g5, attacking on f4. And if you take f takes g5, there is rook takes e5. So the position of the pieces at least is active. So I have a bad structure, but active pieces compensate the bad structure, yeah? That's important idea in chess. So after a3, b5 is played, and this is actually a bad move, because you're putting more pieces on the same color as my bishop so I can attack them, and that makes your bishop actually less powerful. And after rook fd1, which is not the move that played in the game, what's the move? The move played in the game was bishop f3, and this is actually a bad move, because now the defensive idea or the defense was maybe easier after, for example, bishop takes f3, because whenever you have a material advantage or any sort of advantage, try to avoid rook end games, either 2 rooks or 1 rook. Try to keep the option of having the bishops opening alive. Yeah, so that was a great idea. I do mean rook fd1, and after, for example, rook a4 g3, and improve the king, and this position is great for white, and the right play, it should be winning. Third question was, should you take on e5 or not? Again, if I take on e5, do I improve my opponent's structure? This is important question. Do I improve it? Wait a second. This pawn is coming to e5, controlling more squares. And see, whenever you get or you help your opponent to get his pawns better or nearer the center, then that's not a good exchange. And you are helping him to improve the pawn structure. So that's why here, this was a bad move actually, knight takes e5. What was the right idea? Simply come down and go queen c7. And after, for example, knight c6, queen c6, yes, now I cannot castle because of this pin, but okay, I will protect and castle. Like, for example, if queen e2 attacking and seems very... No, nothing. Actually, I can simply castle, and if you take my... my bishop, like rook a to e1, and then rook a to e8, and then this rook will be taken soon because of the back rank issues. But in the game, f takes e5 is played, playing with white almost 1700, and black is almost 1600. And now knight g8 is played, was not great, knight e4 was better. Anyways, d4, queen c6, king h1, and after rook d8, now great move was queen g4 attacking, though dc5 was played. And after bishop takes c5, queen g4 attacking on g7, queen g6. And now, question number 6. Will you exchange or not? Again, you need to ask one more question. Is that exchange improve my opponent's structure or improve my structure? No, it's improve my... I have seen this idea before after queen takes g6, and actually this is a 1700, which is a good player. Play it. And this is actually, guys, a very simple idea and very simple concept to gain. It doesn't require lots of hours of studying, while it's happening every single time. Like, if you look at your games after studying this series, then you will see, like, wait a second, I'm doing this like subconsciously, and now I can easily avoid them and improve my chess understanding and improve my chess results eventually. Yeah. So queen takes g6 actually was played. The best move was to avoid that and play queen a4, for example, and after queen c6, simply queen b3, attacking on d5 one more time, improve the bishop, bring the other rook, and white is much better in this position. But after queen g6, queen takes g6, h takes g6, now the position back to be kind of even. Question number 4, you can say, or maybe 5. Now this is actually kind of tougher, and it's tough for every single player because it requires some psychological strength. Yeah, here most of us, to be honest, I am as well, are really tending to take this knight. I mean, this is a very, very annoying knight. I mean, who can live with this knight? So whenever you have this knight here, you have actually 2 options. First option, to kick it away. How? f6. Can I do f6? Okay, right now I can't, but I can move the bishop and go f6. Can I do that? Yes, then do it. If you can do that, the second option is try to live with it. Okay, I agree. You are my annoying neighbor. Your voice is loud. It's completely fine. I'll try my best to live with you. I'll try to adapt, yeah? Adaptation. So that's why this is not a great idea. Bishop takes e5, and the best move was take exchange first and then bishop h4, or move the bishop whatever. And after, for example, rook e2, then you kick this knight away. And now the weakness of e3 will be revealing. Yeah, I mean, you will start slowly attacking on e3, and this position actually is great, or at least very good for black. But in the game, actually, bishop takes e5 was played. And after bishop takes e5, D takes e5 is a great move because now the d4 square is perfect for the knight. After bishop d3, queen d3, queen e6 happened, and now white played e4, which was not the right idea. The right idea was simply knight e2, and white has a nice advantage. The knight on d4 is great, attacking on c6 in the meantime, and this knight requires sometimes to improve. Actually, the ideal square for the knight is c4, but it's very far away. Like, it requires too many moves, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you don't have these 5 moves because I am already coming to attack your queens, your pawns, your everything. Last question. I know this is actually kind of fast, though it's 10 minutes so far. Please consider watching the full series and subscribe to the channel because I am putting a huge effort here to like simplify the ideas for you. Again, it's white to play, and here, shall you take this knight or not? Most of us will take it, and actually the white player here is 2200, and he took the knight, and it was a bad move. Again, either you kick that knight away, but here I cannot kick it away. I don't have b3, I don't have d3, so my option here is to live with it. And if you watch the higher rated players, like for example 2500, 2600, 2700, they usually accept having such a knight and playing around that knight, you know. Okay, you're here, I will avoid this square, this square, this square, this square, and we'll play around. And this is actually a very important aspect and a very important idea to gain. And after and instead of bishop takes c4, you could simply take ab5, ab5, rook takes rook, queen takes rook, and then in play knight e5. Okay, you have a great knight, I do have a great knight, let's play the game. I mean, you have your strengths, I have mine, and we'll play a game of chess, yeah? For sure, the best is not to allow a knight to be here from the beginning, but sometimes you cannot control everything in chess, yeah? We are human and we're making mistakes. So bishop takes c4 actually is a mistake. And after d takes c4, white tried d5, tried to make it kind of complicated because he understood that he has a bad pawn structure, so he needs to fight energetically. And here black has a great move, which was b takes a4. The point is you cannot take on a4 as I can take on d5, but black did not accept worsening his pawn structure, though he is a pawn up, and he played rook a1, he played bishop f5, and it was a normal position. But after b takes a4, rook a d1, knight c8 actually was a great move, either to play knight b6, protecting your pawns and attacking, or knight d6 to block the pawn on d5, and black is doing actually great. So this is mistake number 4. Again, kind of summary: exchange pieces and worsening the structure. Whenever your opponent or you are going to offer an exchange for your opponent, ask yourself, is that improve my pawn structure or worsen it? And whenever your opponent offer an exchange for you, if I took that, am I improving my opponent's structure or not? Actually, before finishing this, I would like to show you one more idea because I have it in the back of my mind. This is not mentioned in the book, but this is actually important, which happened in many lines. Like for example, in the London system, after bishop f4, e6, e3, bishop d6, bishop g3. This is now not great because this rook is improved, yeah? Okay, but wait a second. After bishop takes g3, in this position, not great. But if, for example, I exchange or I castle and you go, for example, bishop to e2, knight bd7, whatever, castling, now this is a great move, yeah? Now it's a great move because after h takes g3, yes, I kind of improve your pawn structure, but with the king here, sometimes the h file might be something, yeah? And sometimes also the g4 square might be something, as you don't have h3 to kick my knight away. So it's kind of exception here. Otherwise, always taking on g6, b6, b3, g3 is not great unless the king is here, so the a file will not be open and the rook will not be benefiting out of this. This is an idea or a bonus idea I wanted to share. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and watch the rest of the series. Super recommended, super important. And see you soon, guys. Have a nice one.